component we shall talk about is performing. Performing will involve singing and also conducting songs, singing or dancing. That is performing, and that is another component of music that you are supposed to know. The other one is creating music or composing music. That is where you will have to write music by creating or composing. You can compose a song of yours according to either topic or song, or talking about educational issues that you want to educate the society. You can compose a round song, a folk song, all those. That is creating and composing, where you will have to have notes inserted to your music. Then the other one is listening and appreciation. The other component is listening and appreciation. That's another component of music that you are going to learn, and which also that you are going to teach in your primary level learners. So I have started by answering that question which was asked, and the time was over. And now I think you have understood, or you have differentiated between the two, the basic musical elements and also the components of music, which you are
Excuse
supposed
me,
to
sir.
learn or teach. Yes, Jacqueline? Jacqueline, you're asking. What is Makunga?
Excuse teacher.
Yes, Doreen.
Repeat the first point, please, under components of music.
The first one is foundational skills. And I said that is where you teach the overview of music. That is music in general. That is the career they can get when they continue pursuing music. The importance of music as a learning area, how it assists as a tool of teaching that way. That is foundational skills. And then the types of songs that way, those are foundational skills or overview of music. The second component I said is performing, where you have to perform dances in folk songs, you have to sing some songs and others. Then there is composing and creating music, whereby you have to use notes in writing music. You have to identify the keys of music, and then toning and toning softwares, and the writing of notes in major and minor keys, and also triads, transformation of triads, intervals. That is where in the composition, in the creating and the composing. Then lastly, there is listening and the appreciation. And that is the strand we are going to have today, because we are through with the foundational skills. So I'm going today to start with the appreciation, and then talk about Western music, Western music in the strand of listening and appreciation. So our strand today is listening and appreciation. Substrand will be appreciation. And I'm going to talk about Western music. Western music. So I'll start by defining what is music appreciation. I'll start by defining what is music appreciation. So music appreciation is the process of understanding the meaning or interpretation of types of music through careful listening and a critical analysis. Music appreciation is the process of understanding the meaning. You understand the meaning of the music, then do interpretation of the various types of music that you are listening to through careful listening and a critical analysis. So that is what it means by appreciation. Then we have different types of music. We have Western music, African music, and others. But today I wanted us to talk about Western music. Today I wanted us to talk about Western music. So when we talk about Western music, this is the kind of music which includes all categories of music originating from Europe. It includes all genres or categories of music originating from Europe. So this music has its origins from the chants of early Christian church, popularly known as Gregorian chants. After that was after the Roman Pope of the time. So those type of songs as its origin or of their origin from chants. Chants are songs of early Christian church, popularly known as Gregorian chants or Gregorian chants or songs after that was after the Roman Pope of the time. Then we have those types of the types of Western music. We have the first one is classical music. The first type of Western music is classical music. So when we talk about classical music, this one includes music through five historical eras. Classical music includes music through five historical eras. The first era is Renaissance, which was between 1420 to 1600 AD. That was the first historical era of classical music. The second classical era music is Baroque, and Baroque was historical era of between 16 to 1750 AD. Then number three, historical era is classical era, and that was 1750 to 1820 AD. Then is romanticism 1820 to 1900 AD. Then we have the ones for 20th century music. 20th century music, that is from the classical music, which includes those five historical eras. We have now the 20th century music, the ones which is uh, followed in Western music nowadays. That is the 20th century. And in Baku, we are in the 21st century. So that is the recent ones are the 20th century music. And those ones include rock and roll. Rock and roll. The second one is jazzy, jazzy. Then the other 20th century is country music. And then the last one is pop music. So 20th century music, which is still going on up to now, is rock and roll, and jazzy. You can listen to jazzy. You can listen to country music. You can also listen to pop music. Those are the recent classical music which is on up to date. Then Western music can be classified broadly into two groups. We can classify the Western music broadly into two groups. The first one is folk, and the second one is instrumental music. So we have two groups of music in Western music: folk music and the instrumental music. So let's first talk about characteristics of Western folk music.
Teacher, can you repeat
Characteristics.
the types of music, Western music?
Yes, I have talked about the first, the types. We have said they are known as classical music, and there are those which are for historical eras, starting with the Renaissance, 1420 to 1600 AD. Those are for historical eras. The second one is Baroque historical era, and that was between 1600 to 1750 AD. Then we have classical, which was in the era of 1750 to 1820 AD. Then Romanticism, 1820 to 1900 AD. Those were the kind of classical music which were there in five historical eras, of which we have talked about as Renaissance, Baroque, Classical, and the Romanticism. Then the fifth era is the one we are now, which is from 20th century. Now we are in 21st century. So the current types of music now which are practiced in Western music include rock and roll. Rock and roll. That is the first, which is recent. From 20th century up to date, we have rock and roll. We have also Jazzy band, Jazzy, that is JAZZ, Jazzy. We have also country music, that is the music within the country. Then pop music, POP music. Then I said those musical Western music can also be classified broadly into two groups. We can classify those kind of music into two groups: vocal music and the instrumental music. So I first wanted to talk about characteristics of Western vocal music. Before I proceed, any question or input?
Mwalimu,
Yes,
just a point of concern.
yes,
You talked about types of Western music, of which you
yeah.
have stated classical.
Categories. I
Categories.
said yes, categories or genres.
Okay.
That is, I said their origin was from
Yeah.
chants. Chants are songs from early Christian church,
Mm-hmm.
chants from early Christian church,
Mm-hmm.
and they were popularly known as Gregorian chants. That is after the Romans hope of the time. Then I started by saying we have now the classical music, which is now used in Western music. And that classical music is divided into five historical eras. And the first era, the first four eras are said are the ones which were before the one which we have nowadays, from 20th century up to date, which is 21st century. So for the first historical eras, we have four historical eras, which was for classical music. That is Renaissance, Baroque, classical, and romanticism. Then 20th century,
Mwalimu,
we have now the second type.
Mwalimu,
Yes, yes,
where do we classify the hip hop, the reggae under these types of Western music?
good. That one is in the 20th up to 21st century. That is why I said we have the rock and the roll, jazz, country music, pop, and those others we are talking about. They are classified there
Okay,
in the
thank you.
later century, later historical eras from 20th to 21st. Now we have rock and roll, jazzy, country music, pop music, and those ones we are talking about, the current ones which are on. which you listen to over the radio. Sasa,
YouTube.
are you okay, Matoka? Matoka? Mongeli, you have raised your hand. Mongeli Macau? Oh, you are okay. So can we talk about characteristics now of those Western folk music? Because we said it is divided into two groups, which is vocal music and instrumental music. Characteristics of Western folk music. What do you understand by vocal? If I mean, I talk about folk music, what does it, what can you say it is? What do you understand by folk music? Nancy? Chikoi?
Involves use of voice,
Yes,
vocal. I think it's voice.
voice, Good. So vocal music refers to music that is sung. That is the music that you can listen. You can sing and then you are listened to. And that is why we are talking about listening and appreciation, because the way you are producing the sound is listened by a person. And then that person has to appreciate, have self-efficacy of whatever, or appreciation of whatever you are producing or singing. So folk music refers to music that is sung. It is usually accompanied. What do you understand by accompaniment? If I say that it is usually accompanied, what do I mean? That means you can use instruments or not use instruments. You can accompany it with a musical instrument, or when you are singing, or you sing without a musical instrument. Then you are listened to, and then those who are listening can appreciate what you are bringing out or what you are telling them. You know, we said music is a type, is also a kind of communication and expression of one's self through singing. So vocal music refers to music that is sung, and then you can have musical instruments or fail to use musical instruments. It is also usually written down in Western style of music notation. It is written down using music notation, use Western style of music notation. That is using notes. You remember we talked about note values? We have semi-brief, minim, crochet, semquaver. So we have those Western notations which they use, or notes which they use. The lyrics or text is usually artistic or poetic in nature, usually accredited to a specific composer. So the lyrics or the words that are used in Western music are usually artistic. You remember we talked about music as one of the creative activities, so it is a kind of art. So the words which are used in that kind of Western music are usually artistic or poetic in nature. That is in the poetry in nature, usually accredited to a specific composers. So the pitch, which we said is highness or lowness of a sound, the pitch is definite. That is, it is either based on major or minor scale. The pitch should be definite. If you are using major scale, you use that pitch or major scale. If it is minor, becomes it is minor scale. So in that kind of music, the other characteristic is there is frequent use of notation to create variety. You can use different types of notes to make the song be having to have variety. So when you are singing, the singing emphasizes a particular quality of tone. The singing emphasizes a particular quality of tone. calling for formal voice, training the skills and the techniques that produce a cultural tone. That is the cultural tone. So the singing, when they are singing, it emphasizes a particular quality or tone, quality of tone. Calling for formal voice training in the schools and also techniques that produce cultural tone. Then we have expressions, dynamic expressions. These are widely used to add beauty, color, as creating specific mood. Dynamic expressions is whereby you can be very wide in singing, you can be very loud, you can also be very soft when you are singing. Now that one is dynamic expressions, and they are the ones which are used in Western music to add beauty, in the music or color, uh, as creating specific mood. Yes, Matoka, you have raised your hand again. Matoka, what is the concern?
Mwalimu, when you talk of dynamic expressions,
Yes.
are they the same as the performance cues like risando, diminuendo, things like that?
Yeah, you are very right. Crescendo, diminuendo, hizo, those are the ones whereby you get loud and then you continue getting soft and soft. So that is, you are on the right path. Then the other characteristic is that Nancy Karebo.
Teacher, what are those crescendo and diminuendo?
I have said they are dynamic expressions whereby you when you are singing you can get loud. There are some parts where you have to get loud, the others where you get very soft. Those are the ones we call dynamics, and we shall talk about them as we go on. Dynamics where you have to do what, to be loud. There are other parts where you have to be soft or to be very fast. Those are the dynamics. Yes, Professor, can you mute your mic, please? Kindly. Then we have another characteristic is they have also a specific meter. They have a specific meter. What do you understand by meter in music? That is also another terminology. Meter, they have a specific meter. What do you understand by meter? When you talk about meter in music, that is simply time. They have a specific time signature. You remember we talked about time signature when you were here. We have a symbol time and the compound time. When we talk about time, that is also can also be referred to as meter. So when you talk about Western musical instrument, it has also a specific meter or time. Also, Western folk music has restraint of movement in performance. That is, you are restricted in moving when you are performing in Western music. That is what they say. Western folk music has restraint of movement in performance. Then the other characteristic is that Western folk music can be grouped into secular and sacred. It can be grouped into two groups: secular Western music and a sacred Western music. It can also be solo, that is performed by one person. It can also be choral, that is music for a large group in different parts. That is soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. You can also have sopran 1, sopran 2, and the alto. You can have tenor 1, tenor 2, bass 1, bass 2, etc. So when you talk about choral, which can also be performed in Western music, it is that kind of music for a large group in different parts. Some singing soprano, others singing alto, others tenor, others bass. You can also have 3 voice parts, which is soprano 1, soprano 2, and the alto. Then we can also have tenor 1, tenor 2, and bass 1, bass 2. So with the choral, you can have a large group and then you conduct them in different voice parts. Then we have talked about solo. Solo is music performed by one person. Music performed by one person. Then we have ensemble, ENSEMBLE. In French, we talk about ensemble. That is ensemble, music for two or more vocalists. That is, music for two people is not duet. That is when you are two. Three is trio. Three is trio. Then four people is quartet. 4 people. Then quintet, 5 people. So that one is ensemble, music for two or more vocalists. Duet for two, trio for 3, quartet for 4. Western music into 2 groups: sacred vocal music and the secular vocal music. So after the characteristics, we can now talk about the 2 groups of vocal Western music. Any question about characteristics or input before we move to the 2 groups of Western vocal music? Any question about characteristics?
Can you repeat them?
Okay, let me go through them again. Characteristics of Western folk music. The first one we said is, I first started by dividing what folk music is. I said folk music refers to music that is sung, the music that you are listened to by a person when you are singing. So it is the music that can be sung, and can be accompanied with an instrument, or you can sing without instruments. I said it is also written down in Western style of music notation. That Western music, Western folk music is written in Western style of music notation. So they have their music notation, which they write their music in. Then I talked about the wording or the lyrics or text. The lyrics or text is usually artistic or poetic in nature, usually accredited to a specific composer. So when you are composing the song, you use words that are artistic or in form of poetry in nature, usually accredited to a specific composer. Then, yes, Professor, you have raised your hand.
Yes, how are you, teacher?
Yes, fine.
Okay, I wanted to talk something about on behalf of our colleagues here. I hope that most of us that we are here, we did option A in the colleges. And however, because of now upgrading, we must do the other option also. So the things we missed while in college is that especially music, use of tone to present songs, the tones, the quivers and quivers, the way you are talking about. Most of people here are very blank. How I wish that after the lecture, you post the notes over the same. It will be very much important on our side. Otherwise, we are enjoying your lesson. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that. And let me correct you. It is not option A. This one is option B. Option B is where we have art and craft and music. So this is not A, it is B. I will post
It's
I
B,
will
but
send
those
you
who
the
did
notes.
A, those who did A. Yes.
Yeah, those who did A in P1 are the ones who are doing now B, which is including music and the art and craft. So I will do the sending of the notes to the group. Although in the other ones, I have already sent them, but I did not send you for the listening and the appreciation, whereby we are talking about where you can listen to types of music and then you appreciate. But this is now another strand that I'm talking about, which I did not send to you. Sawa. Okay, can we continue? So I was talking about the lyrics or text is usually artistic or poetic in nature, usually accredited in a specific composer. Then the pitch is highness or lowness of sound. The pitch is based on minor or major scales. The kind of music, Western music is based on the pitch of either major scale or minor scale. And there is variety or frequent use of notation to create variety. That is, they use different types of notes. You remember we talked about, yes, I'll send them. We remember you talked about note values. We have semi-brief, minim, crotchets, and quiver. So they use variety of those notes. Then they are singing emphasizes on a particular quality of tone. They emphasize on a particular quality of tone. That is the volume they have, or whether it is very loud or they emphasize on a particular quality. If it is low voice, it should be low voice, or soft voice, it should be soft voice. That is calling for formal voice tuning, training of skills. If it is low, if it is loud, they train on those kind of skills and the techniques that produce cultural tone. Then dynamic expressions are widely used to add beauty, that is aesthetic value in the music, color, and creating specific mood. That is dynamics. I talked about where you get loud and where you get very soft. Those are the terminologies which are used to show whether you are going to sing very loud, very soft. It is shown by either P is for soft, PP is very soft. Then we have crescendo, diminuendo. Crescendo is where you are going to start softly and then you end up very loudly. Then diminuendo, you start very loudly and then you end up very softly. That is, those are dynamics. Then I said they have also a specific meter, of which we said meter is the same as time signature. It can be symbol time or compound time, whereby we have 2/4, which means 2 crochet beats in a bar, 3/4, 4 crochet beats in a bar, that way. Then we have Western folk music as restraint of movement in performance. So when you are performing a Western music, there is limited movement. Bonnie, you have raised your hand. What is the concern? Bonnie? Debbie, what is your concern?
It's just a mistake. I'm sorry.
Sorry, okay. Then I said there are 2 groups of Western folk music, and that is the one I was trying to start. And before I start that one, I said we have solo music performance, which is performed by one person, and then we have choral, which is music for a large group, is known as choral, while we have ensemble, music for 2 or more vocalists, duet for 2, trio for 3, quartet for 4, quintet for 5. So that is now the characteristics of folk Western music. Then can we move to the two groups of vocal Western music? We have sacred vocal music. I start with the first group, West sacred vocal music. This refers to songs that are dedicated or set apart for worship in churches. So sacred vocal music refers to songs that are dedicated or set apart for worship. That is when you are in the church, when you are doing worshiping, you have sacred vocal music in Western music. Then we can give an example of those kind of Western sacred vocal music. The first type is an example is condata. Condata is a vocal piece of music made up of solos, choruses, and recitations. So that one is the first type of sacred vocal music known as cantata, a vocal piece of music made of solo, choruses, and also recitations. So you can recite.
Spellings.
Yes, Motaka?
Spelling kindly, mwalimu.
Yes.
Spelling.
Oh, condata. Condata is C-A-N-T-A-T-A. Cantata. C-A-N-T-A-T-A. Cantata. A vocal piece of music made of solo, choruses, and the recitations. Those are the ones we sing for praise and worship in our churches. They are the ones which they call cantata. Cantata, praise and worship in our churches. Then we have the second sacred known as oratorio. Oratorio. O-R-A-T-O-R-I-O. Oratorio. Oratorio is a composition for voices and the orchestra. Composition for voices and the orchestra. Orchestra here means accompaniment of many instruments. So we have that one, oratorio. Oratorio is a composition of voices. Then those voices are combined with the many instruments, which is orchestra. And that one has a religious theme. The oratorio should be a composition of voices accompanied by musical instruments, but it should be having a religious theme. That is where you hear Europeans singing with the voices and many instruments. Then it is performed without scenery or dramatic action or costumes. So with the oratorio, you only sing without costumes. You sing with your normal clothes, performed without scenery or dramatic action or costumes. Then the other one in the church, which is sacred, is Mass. Mass is the principal service of Roman Catholic Church, where certain sections are sung. So we have sections of songs being sung, and that one is known as Mass. Principal service of Roman Catholic Church, where certain sections are sung. So that is a service in Roman Catholic where principal service of Roman Catholic Church where certain sections are sung. That is, we have some sections in the Catholic where they do singing and others where they do not sing. Then the last one of the sacred vocal music is choraros. Choraros. C-H-O-R-A-L-E-S. So these are harmonious songs. Songs which are sung in unity. Choraros. C-H-O-R-A-R-O-S. Rales, choraros. These are harmonious hymns, songs which are sung in unity or in unison. They are the ones in the church as a hymn. They are the ones which are known as choraros. So altogether we have 4 sacred types of vocal music. We have talked about the first one is cantata, which is a vocal piece of music made up of solos, choruses, and recitations. And those are the ones for praise and worship in our churches. Cantata are the praise and worships in our churches. Then we have oratorio, a composition for voices and the orchestra. That is where you sing with your voice, and then there is accompaniment of many instruments. There are those who are playing instruments. There are those who are singing using their voices. And that such a song, a sacred song, should be having a religious theme. Then we said they are performed without scenery, that is, or dramatic action, or using wearing costumes. You can use your normal clothing. There is no dramatic action that is going to be performed in the oratorio, but you can sing without scenery, dramatic, or without costumes. Then the third one we have said is the third one we said is mass, which is a principal service of Roman Catholic Church, where we have certain sections for singing and others for talking. That is mass. Those of Catholic, I know you know what mass is in your services. Then choraros is the last one, the fourth one, which is harmonious hymns, songs which are sung in unity. They are the choraros in sacred Western music, sacred vocal Western music. Then the other group of songs in Western music, vocal music, we have said is secular. Secular. Who can tell us what secular means in English? What is secular? 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 What do you understand by secular?
Moral.
Moral? Yes.
Not connected to any religious.
Good. Secular means there are those songs which are not connected with the spiritual or churches. They are worldly music, which do not involve any Christianity or spiritual themes. So vocal music that does not belong to religious order are the ones which are known as secular vocal music. For example, you can have a college whereby we have training for those Bible students and also academic. So when we talk about secular, it will be now those who are not running Bible as training for Bible. Those who are not training for Bible are the ones who are referred to as secular. Those who are doing Bible study, they are the ones who are sacred or religious. So that such a training, we can have secular and the secular, sacred and the secular. So vocal music that does not belong to religious order is the one which is referred to as secular. So it can also be referred to as worldly music rather than spiritual. It can be referred to as worldly music rather than spiritual. It is based on human experiences. So such a song can be based on love, especially nowadays. Those people who are singers who are singing and singing many songs about love. You can also compose another one of experience of hate, myth, legends, imaginations, on day-to-day happenings. Those are the secular vocal music, talking about love, hate, myths, legends, imaginations, day-to-day happenings, and so forth. Then we have Western secular vocal music includes, when we talk about Western secular vocal music, includes opera. Opera is the first type, which is OPERA, opera. Opera is a kind of music and drama in which all words are sung. Opera is a drama in form of music in which all words are sung, and it is accompanied by an orchestra. Orchestra meaning many instruments. So all the words are sung, accompanied by orchestra or many instruments. Then the second Western secular vocal music includes hearty songs. Hearty songs. We said which type of songs are hearty songs? Hearty songs. We talked about types of songs in the foundational skills and the overview of music. And then we said there are hearty songs. Which are these hearty songs? Jacinda?
Yeah, they're a type of Western songs sung by only one person in accompaniment of a keyboard.
Good.
Yeah.
Karembo, you have another contribution?
No, it has been said.
Good. This is the one. So these are solo songs with the piano accompaniment where music follows the mood of the words. Solo songs with the piano accompaniment where the music follows the mood of the words. That is what it means by art songs. So we have those two: Western secular vocal music, opera, and drama in which all words are sung, and it is accompanied by orchestra. Orchestra, I said, are many instruments. We have brasses, we have percussions, and so forth. Then we have the art songs whereby we said it is a solo song with piano accompaniment where music follows the mood of the words. So those are the two types of Western secular vocal music. Then I think we can stop there because we shall start with the characteristics of Western Western instrumental music in the next period, because the time is over. Unless you have a question or a concern,
Before termination, please send us notes.
Yes, I will do that. I will take a photo and then send to the groups because I had written.
Teacher,
Yeah.
can you repeat for me the types of music, please?
Oh, okay. The one I started with, it is the question you posed: melody, rhythm, texture, structure, or form. Basic musical elements: sound. In sound, we can have overtone, timbre, pitch, amplitude, duration, or concerning time, because concerning sound. Because when you talk about sound, you can have highness or lowness, which is referred to as pitch. You can talk about duration of notes, whereby we have four time signature, three four time signature, compound signature, compound time signature, and so forth. That is concerning time, sound as an element. The other one is melody. Melody is the sweetness of the song, so it is a simple song. Rhythm, then texture, structure, or form. Those are the elements. Then we talk about components. Components, I said, we have foundational skills where you talk about foundation overview of music. Then that is also what you are learning here as foundational skills or the overview of music. Then from there we have performance, whereby you are supposed to sing, dance, and act when you are singing. That is performance. Then we have creating and composing. That is where we are constructing scales, writing music, inserting sober notations in music. That is to write a song and sing it. That is creating and composing. Then lastly, we have listening and appreciation, the one we have been talking about as the strand today. And the substrand was appreciation. So that is what we were talking about, Western music and the type of Western music that you can learn or you can teach. So I think those are the basic elements and the components we can have to know.